Okay, so let's be real. You're here because you want to level up your English. Right.
Yeah, totally.
But between all the apps and the courses and like a million different books, it's easy to feel a little overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Information overload is real.
That's why this deep dive is all about getting clarity. We've got this stack of 10 books, all recommended for English learners.
Right.
And we're going to break it down. No more just staring at a list and wondering where to even begin.
Perfect, yeah.
This is about figuring out which books are going to be your best allies on this journey. Kind of like, assembling your dream team of English learning resources.
That's a great way to put it. And I can already tell from this list, whoever put it together is going for a pretty well-rounded approach, which is awesome.
Yeah, totally. There's a little bit of everything. But solid grammar, that's got to be the foundation. Right?
But 100%. It's like the building blocks of any language.
And luckily, your list has 2 books that are considered like the gold standard. English Grammar in Use by Raymond Murphy, and The Complete English Grammar for ESL Learners by Philip G. Altman.
2 very different but super valuable books. Murphy's book, I think of it as like the friendly grammar guide that you can always turn to. It's really approachable, whether you're studying on your own or just need a quick refresher.
Okay.
Altman's book, on the other hand, is specifically designed for people learning English as a second language.
Got it.
So it really dives into the unique challenges that ESL learners face. Like, I remember when I was first learning English, verb tenses were a nightmare for me.
Really? Yeah, they trip a lot of people up. But from what I've heard, Altman's book, breaks them down in a way that finally makes sense. Right?
Exactly. He gets it. And it's such a relief when you find a resource that actually understands where you're coming from.
Yeah, totally.
Like, they've walked in your shoes.
Okay, so that's grammar sorted. But then there's the whole vocabulary thing.
Right.
Because grammar is great, but you need words to actually say something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like having all the ingredients, but no recipe. You need both. And that's where I think Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis comes in. This book is a total game changer, I swear.
Okay, you've got to tell me more about this one.
It's all about etymology.
Etymology. Hold on. For someone who blanks on the simplest word sometimes, that sounds a little intimidating.
I know it sounds fancy, but it's actually the opposite of intimidating.
Okay.
Because think about it. Instead of just trying to memorize random words, you're learning the stories behind those words, like where they came from, how they evolved. It's kind of like uncovering their secret history. And suddenly, all those words start to make so much more sense. You see patterns and connections.
I see.
Like take the word magnificent, for instance. It can feel like a big, scary word, right? But when you know that it comes from the Latin magnus, meaning great, and it's related to words like magnitude, suddenly it's not so scary. You're like, oh, I see what you did there. It's like unlocking a code.
I like that, yeah. So it's like building a mental web of words.
Exactly. And those connections make it way easier to remember the words. And then there's the English Vocabulary in Use series.
Yeah, that one was on the list too.
That one's all about context. It's like you wouldn't use the same vocabulary to order a coffee as you would to give a presentation at work, right?
Yeah, totally.
These books really help you navigate different situations, whether it's everyday conversation, business English, or even academic writing.
Perfect. Okay, so we've got grammar, we've got vocabulary. But now let's talk about fluency.
Right.
Because that's the dream, isn't it? To just be able to, flow in English without having to think too hard about every single word. And that's where I think Fluent English by Barbara Ray Snyder comes in.
Yeah.
It's all about practical phrases and expressions that you'd actually use in real life, not just textbook examples.
Yeah, it's about sounding natural, feeling confident, like you've been speaking English forever. And you know what else can help with that? Idioms.
Ugh, idioms. Those are my nemesis.
I know. They can be tricky, but they're also like the secret sauce to really understanding the nuances of English. And honestly, they make your conversations way more interesting. English idioms in use is a good one for that.
Okay, I'm listening.
It breaks them down in a really clear way with lots of examples. You'll be saying raining cats and dogs and piece of cake in no time.
That's the dream. Okay, so we've got speaking covered, but what about writing? I mean, that's a whole other beast.
Totally. But your list has got you covered there, too. The Elements of Style by Strunk and White. That's like the writer's Bible.
I've heard of that one. Is it really that good?
It's a classic for a reason. It's not just about grammar rules. It's about thinking clearly, getting your point across in the most effective way possible. Like, one of their big things is using active voice. It instantly makes your writing more dynamic and engaging.
Okay, I'm taking notes.
Good. And for those moments when you have to, actually speak in front of people.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Public speaking.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
I know, but there's a book for that too. Dale Carnegie's The Quick and Easy Way to Effective Speaking. His whole approach is about building confidence and connecting with your audience in a genuine way. Like, fun fact, he actually started his career teaching public speaking.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine being in his class? He was way ahead of his time, emphasizing things like storytelling and just being authentically enthusiastic.
That's so cool. Okay, so there's grammar, vocabulary, fluency, writing, public speaking. I feel like we've covered everything.
Almost. There's one more book on the list that I want to talk about because it's kind of unexpected. The Little Prince.
Wait, the children's book?
Seriously. I know it seems kind of out there, but hear me out. Immersing yourself in any kind of literature, even something as seemingly simple as The Little Prince, is amazing for language learning. You're exposed to such rich vocabulary, beautiful sentence structures, and you just absorb the rhythm of the language naturally. Plus, The Little Prince is like a universal story that speaks to people of all ages. It's got so much depth.
Okay, that makes sense.
And for visual learners, there's the Oxford Picture Dictionary, which is a fantastic resource.
Love that. Okay, so we've gone from a list of 10 books to like a personalized roadmap for your English language journey. We've got the grammar gurus, the vocabulary wizards, the fluency ninjas, the writing masters, the public speaking champions, and even a little bit of literary magic thrown in for good measure.
Exactly. The key is finding what works for you.
So as you're thinking about all these amazing books, I'm curious, which one are you feeling the most drawn to right now? And what aspect of English are you most excited to conquer?
That's a great question. There's so much good stuff here.
I know. It's exciting, isn't it?
It is.
Like the possibilities are endless.
Totally.
All right, well, I can't wait to hear all about your English adventures.
Me too. Good luck out there.
Happy learning.